I appreciate Aaron Feld stopping by the studio. Josh Pate hanging out for a couple of segments there. Friday, February 13th, Valentine's Day Eve. Just a reminder, don't forget, if you need to do those kind of things, if that is something that has to be handled in your household, you might not have a lot of time after work today or definitely tomorrow morning to get that done. So get out there and take care of it. If you're looking to take care of some weight loss, or if you're feeling on edge, lacking sleep, lacking energy, Game Day Men's Health can help you today. It's easy. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com, sign up for that free consultation, free PSA test, free testosterone test. They got your baseline health right there in front of them, and then they present their options in front of you. Peptides, weight loss programs, they can help you in a lot of different ways. And you can save 10% on any of those options by mentioning Mac and Cube when you walk in the front door. Locker room environment, no stress. They just present the options and let them know the ways that you want to be helped, and they see if they can do that for you. A holistic approach to health and wellness, minimal upfront cost from the programs they offer, very different from other places in town. GameDayMen'sHealth.com, now open in Trustville. We go back to the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in Ari Wasserman of the On3 Sports Network. You can hear his podcast with Andy Staples. It is a go-to for any college football fan. Your quarterback rankings recently came out, and you stand pretty strong by Arch Manning, that he's going to be your number one no matter what. And I think part of that was somebody asked if Trinidad Chambliss became eligible, which he now is. What's something, one, two things that stick out about Arch that maybe are not on the surface that a lot of people would look at that you sort of put him ahead of everybody else with?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I fall in love with measurables, and that kind of cost me last year when I was very high on DJ Lagway, and I'm on high alert for that again to happen this year. But just in terms of stature and arm strength and athleticism, I think he has all the tools to be a top-line quarterback in this league at this level and in the NFL. Also, I liked a lot of what I saw out of him last year after the entire world gave up on him. He played behind a porous offensive line that got better as the year went on, and as that happened and he got more comfortable and all those things, I thought that he started to play much better. And considering the fact that most of the people think he was awful last year, I mean, Texas was one win away and had a pretty solid resume to make the CFP a year ago. So now the offensive line will be improved. They've got running backs coming in that are going to help the offense move the ball on the ground more efficiently. And they brought in an alien who you're very familiar with, Cole, that can, do a lot of things physically that other receivers can't do. I just think the whole package, like this list, is about projecting who we're going to think is the best quarterback in the country at the end of next year, not what people did last year. And I think that there's a lot of things to like about what Arch Manning brings to the table next year.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. It gets difficult after that because there's a lot to like about a lot of these guys. Dante Moore, if you're just looking at how beautiful the balls are that he throws and just the overall ability, measurables, as you said, maybe that's why he's number two for you. You start going into guys that are just gamers. You get Gunnar Stockton, you get Sam Leavitt. Obviously, Leavitt needs to be healthy. Ceiling, maybe you go Mayava at USC. It becomes tough, but Julian Sayin to me is the guy that I feel like across the board, I hate saying being slept on because it's not like people are ignoring him, not talking about him, but he was exceptional last year. Some of that is going to be clouded by people just saying the receivers were so good, but I saw the pinpoint accuracy that he hit multiple passes with. You don't have the completion percentage that he had in that offense without being extremely accurate. Why 4? Why not higher? What is it about him that you think maybe some people cannot completely get on board with versus some of these other quarterbacks this year?
I don't know if he has a lot of wiggle. And that's the thing that I would, worry about. I think it's very hard to be as accurate as he was, right? No matter what receivers you have on your team. Like, his accuracy is pinpoint. You're a football mind, Cole. How much of being a great quarterback is just being accurate? Is it a large percentage of it? Is it half of it? Like, I don't know. But here's what stood out with me if I was going to nitpick. And listen, there's 131 quarterbacks or 130 plus quarterbacks starting in college football next year. To be number 4 is really good. And to be number 10 is really good. I got a lot of people upset about C.J. Carr being number 10. And it's like, that's a pretty good place. But my thing with Julian more than anything is he played 3 games last year against teams with equitable or solid talent. And they went 1-2 in those games and scored 38 total points. And I feel like they have a ton of weapons. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith is unlike anything, most of us have ever seen at this position, especially with the production that he had at his age. But is he the guy that's going to take the team on his own back and win them a game? They had multiple drives, or at least one drive in the Miami game in the quarterfinal in Texas. And they were down by less than a score, and they punted. And it's just like, I need to see him be the guy. And maybe I never will in college, because he's going to have Jeremiah both years before he goes pro. But before I put him over some of the guys that I have on the list ahead of him, like, that's kind of the thing that kind of stands out to me. And again, I hate talking negatively about a guy I've got number 4 in college football at the quarterback position, but that's part of the reason why he wasn't higher.
No, it's fair. Another guy that I can't remember if he fell off your list. I think you were higher on him last year, is Lenore Sellers, not in your top 10 this year. What has to happen around him we know the ability he's got, and we know the ceiling that is there. How much has to take place around him for that to actually come to fruition and him be number 4, number 5, number 2, whatever that is?
Yeah, I actually think that maybe I overcorrected a little bit, because if you go back and look at the list that we put together last offseason, both Andy and I did our own, but we made the same mistakes, and it was over-reliance on physical traits. I put DJ Lagway number 1, and he was nowhere near a top 10 quarterback last year. And frankly speaking, I'm not sure where he would rank in the top 50 at the moment, although I still look at him and some of the plays that he made at Florida and lose my mind. Lenora Sellers kind of falls into that category. I mean, he is about as physically gifted as a human being could possibly be. And, you know, if you look at South Carolina's team, they've got 5 legitimate aliens on their team that could really, you know, make them good. I actually think that people are, if you thought they were overhyped last year, I think they're underhyped now and might have a chance to make a run with some of the guys. And they improved their offensive line dramatically. Obviously, staying healthy is an important aspect of his, but, like, you know, if he went out and won the Heisman and South Carolina made the playoff next year, like, that would not be surprising to me. So, you know, obviously you want to see somebody put it all together. But the difference between this year and last year, when looking at the quarterbacks that are going to be taking the field in the fall, last year there was so much speculation. How good would Arch be? How good is DJ? Lenoris? A lot of guys that either didn't play much or didn't play at all, like stepping into starting positions, whereas this year, everybody on the top 10 list that I have right now has had at least a full year of starting experience and proven production. So last year's list was a disaster. It's going to be kind of hard to miss completely with the guys that are coming back, because we already know they're all very good.
Sure. Ari Wasserman joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You can find him at the On3 Sports Network. Find his podcast with Andy Stables wherever you get yours. It is a college football fan must listen daily. This is still a quarterback question, but not necessarily your list. I'm just interested in your opinion. Alex Golesh comes into Auburn. Whatever your opinion was with that hire, how did it change? Because Byron Brown, I think we've described him on this show as probably pretty close to his college football player ceiling. But he's a really good college football player, and he's a much better start than a lot of other guys that a lot of other new coaches are going to start with. How did your opinion change when you saw that he was going to be the guy with Alex Golesh at Auburn?
So it's funny you say that, because in the podcast that we have releasing today, we had a discussion about him. And I actually think that Byron Brown is maybe somebody who could make us look foolish. Like, Andy and I are putting together these lists, and we're talking about who are the dudes that are going to come out of nowhere or do something this year that we're going to make us look back a year from now at these lists and laugh at ourselves. Last year, neither of us had Fernando Mendoza in the top 10, and the guy who won the Heisman is the number 1 overall pick. Who's going to be that person this year? And I actually think that Byron Brown has a chance to be that guy. Obviously, I am a sucker for athleticism, and there's no question that watching him is, you know, it's just athleticism oozes off the television, and, you know, he makes jaw-dropping plays. Now, I think that there are some, you know, question marks about whether he is a top-line enough passer to win enough games in the SEC to make Auburn a really good team next year. But I think you also have to be comforted by the fact that he's following in the same system that he played in last year, and Alex Golesh is betting his first year at Auburn, which, by the way, is more important now than it's ever been in the past, year one, on a guy that he thinks can play at this level. So, you know, I blindly trust that. I think Alex Golesh is a great coach and a good, you know, character and evaluator, judgment, all that stuff. So I'm actually pretty high on him, and he's somebody that was considered to go on my list. And that would have just been more of a regression to last year's thought process. But I think that if I'm an Auburn fan, after what we've had to, you know, sit through for the past four years with the quarterback play, or 3 years with the quarterback play there, I'm pretty juiced about what the ceiling and the potential is for that. Like, I'm actually surprised to hear you think that he is close to his ceiling as a player. I guess improving accuracy and those types of things is the hardest thing a quarterback can improve, but if you unlock him with some really good athletes, I think that, he can do some things that'll still make our jaws drop next year.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I just I think that a lot of what he's capable of has been unlocked, and I think they're going to have to create some new things around him for them to show different ways for him to go out and be better in different ways. But I think it's a compliment, really. That this is the known commodities in college football are rare. I link that into sort of the Indiana model of where I think more people should be trying to go, and that is we know exactly what we have here. We know what the limitations are. Therefore, we're confident we can build around it, and that's not going to get you in trouble. And I think avoiding trouble is just as important as being able to find explosive plays or unbelievable highlight plays, whatever that is, because we know which ones get you beat more often. It's not finding explosive plays. It's throwing interceptions, fumbling the football, getting your quarterback killed. Those are the things that usually become more problematic.
And I think that's a pretty good point, Cole, too, because how many years in a row, you would know this better than me, have we gone into an Auburn season where the quarterback position is more of what could be and not what has already been?
Whew.
Like, are we like 4 or 5 years, maybe more, since the last time they've had a proven asset at that position that you knew exactly what you were going to get out of them?
I would go to maybe Bo Nix, but then he even turned into something that none of us thought he could when he went to Oregon. And
right.
he actually did get past what I think a lot of people thought his ceiling was, or he morphed part of his games that we didn't think were really changeable. So, no, but it's been a minute since we've said, all right, this is what we have. This is what it's going to be. We can build around that with confidence. It's been a long time at Auburn since you've known exactly what that's been. So if this is now what you've gotten, that known commodity that you can build certain things around offensively, I think it's a great starting point. One of the other things you've been on recently has been non-conference scheduling in college football, and there are a couple that are sort of on the brink here. Why is this dangerous to potentially? I don't even want to say go full circle, because I think we've run in like 3 circles now of let's schedule difficult, let's schedule easy. We got to schedule difficult. They're making us schedule difficult. Why are we scheduling difficult? Go schedule easy again. It's like we've done like 4 laps around this whole conversation, and it looks like we're about to start another lap towards it's not worth our time to schedule these difficult, cool games that everybody wants to see. Why would it be dangerous for us to sort of continue down that path?
First of all, just at the blanket bottom, and I'm surprised you didn't lead with this because I got beat up in the state of Alabama yesterday pretty good, because obviously there's been some talk since Paul Feinbaum went on the Columbus radio station and said that it would be surprised if that game was played. That's kind of what sparked this whole thing. And I don't know what it is about, us as consumers, but anybody who's arguing that it's good to have less good games, it's like going to a movie and saying you should hire worse actors. I have no idea how you could ever think that that's a good thing. So I understand that there's a difference between what you might want to watch and what is best for your program. And I think that the SEC talking point has been that strength of schedule does not take into account who gets in. That is what, Greg Sankey has been pushing the last 2 years, and that's the talking point right now. But I also think that is a complete dismissal of what reality is. If you followed college football since the inception of the CFP, you have watched and seen teams rewarded and penalized for not having enough good quality wins. It happened last year to Notre Dame. Now, they don't play in the SEC and they don't have an SEC schedule, but they did not make the playoff as a 10-2 team last year because they did not beat anybody. And last year, the number one, example would be Texas lost to Ohio State in week 1. If they would have played, Stephen F. Austin and won by 60, they probably would have gotten in the playoff, and that is true. But also, if they would have beaten Ohio State, which is, by the way, the point of competition in playing games and watching the sport, they would have given themselves a mulligan, and they might have been able to lose to another team on top of Florida and still gotten in. I just think that we've lost the plot on the benefits of winning the non-conference games. And the risk-reward of this whole thing is it makes me want to pull my hair out. So when I see Alabama, one of the most storied programs, the place that everybody feared for the past 15 years, thinking, well, it's not worth our time to play Ohio State in the non-conference. It's like, well, That's just awful for everyone. Who doesn't want to watch that game? And the last thing, Cole, everybody complains constantly about the CFP committee and making wrong decisions and taking liberties based on their own thought processes and opinions. So the less good games we get in the non-conference, the less Ohio State Alabamas that we get in the non-conference means what? Less context for them to work with at the end of the year, which then brings it back to more of a guessing game. If I were the commissioner of college football, to steal Josh Pate's line, I would make it a requirement that the Big Ten and the SEC each play each other every year. I would want the Big 12 and the ACC all to play each other. That way we have more bullet points and more data points to reference at the end of the year to make sure that we're making the right decisions in the field. But ultimately, losses do matter, certainly. But you know what? If you're Alabama or anybody else, you should be going into non-conference opponents in games thinking, hey, we're great, we're going to be good, we're going to test ourselves, we're going to win, and we're going to add something very valuable to our resume that helps us get in to the CFP even if we stumble. And I think Alabama forgets that they have been the beneficiary of quality wins and tough schedules since the beginning of the entire system. So hearing them talk about how there's nothing to be gained or nothing to be gleaned from winning or playing tough schedules is asinine. It's complete nonsense, and it blows my mind that people could think that.
Ari Wasserman of the On3 Sports Network with us on the Higginbotham Hotline. I would like for you to leave us with this. Your biggest takeaway outside of just he's eligible for now from the Trinidad Chambliss case yesterday, and what should we be paying attention to with the Joey Aguilar case today?
Yeah, they're completely different cases.
Yes.
So that's the thing that I think that people need to realize. I think that last night people saw that Trinidad won his case, and they thought, well, there goes eligibility. There goes everybody's going to sue, and everybody's going to copy him, and everyone's going to win. And I don't think that's the case. I think last night's case was very specific to his situation, and how many people have been at a place like Ferris State, had documented, injury or illness situations that were not applied for the medical red shirt that year. And I think that it was a very specific case, and I honestly, like it or not, I believe the story. I'm completely fine with him being eligible, at least getting the injunction. Joey Aguilar is going to be pushing a completely different case where one of the years of his eligibility based on where he played in the past shouldn't count, and I'm not sure that that's going to go through. So I think that the legal strategy of suing in state court and getting friendly judges is great, and it's working. But I don't think that there's going to be a pattern of Trinidad won, so everybody else is going to win. I don't think that's the case at all. So I'm excited to see what happens with Aguilar today, but I don't think that there's any correlation between the two things.
I just want to get your response from this. I read this for Josh earlier when he was on the show, and I had not considered it. Trip Tepper tweeted this to the show. The NJCAA isn't governed by the NCAA. A lawyer can argue the NCAA eligibility rules only apply once an athlete starts playing NCAA sanctioned program. The JUCO class credits don't transfer. The school can still admit the student. Does that change your thoughts on this Aguilar case?
Well, I don't know. Listen, I wish there was a time in college, Cole, where I thought I would go to law school. And one of my best friends is a medical malpractice attorney and makes buku dollars. And sometimes I wonder if I would have gone and we could have just been Ruben and Wasserman. I don't know, but I'm not. His name is Ruben. I didn't make that up, and that's hilarious, right? It does kind of change. I can buy it. I can buy it. The problem that I have, Cole, is that if you keep knocking down the rules one by one and saying, well, this shouldn't count, or this doesn't count, or this is different, or this is unique, there has to be some sort of tent pole where you put your foot down and say, we can't do this anymore. Now, the one thing that I'm not completely clear on, and, because I'm not a lawyer, is if people continue to argue with the NCAA and the NCAA rules that were agreed upon without the consent of the labor, that they are impeding on their ability to make a living. If Charles Bediako, the Alabama player that just got, ruled ineligible again, continued on with his lawsuit, even though he can't play, and says he was making more money or X number of dollars at Alabama than he would have in the G League, and this is the number of dollars that the NCAA is costing him from income, then all of a sudden you get into a completely different legal sphere where income and impeding on income is the topic of conversation, and not these rules that are trying to be challenged. And can you continue to uphold eligibility rules that are completely made by the NCAA side when you're impeding on people's ability to make a good living. And like that, to me, is where this whole system is going to come crumbling down. And I don't know if it's going to be this year or next year or 2 years from now, but eventually, Cole, in our lifetimes, they will collectively bargain with the labor in order to create a rule system that people have to adhere to without, being accused of or actually taking advantage of the labor and impeding on labor from participating and making a living. Like that's, to me, going to be the number one thing that shocks this whole thing. And I don't know when we're going to get there, but we will get there eventually.
Absolutely. All right. Great stuff, man. Appreciate the time today. Thanks for hopping on. I got full case of Bowman Best that we're going to try to rip right today if you want to hop into that one. So
yeah, I just want everyone to know that I'm addicted to cards just like Cole, and it's a major issue in my life. So yeah, thanks for continuing to present these to me, and I'm trying my best to fight an illness, and you're just not helping at all.
I'm sorry. I won't send you the link then. It's okay.
No, I want you to. Okay. Thanks, Cole. I appreciate you having me on, and
thanks, Ari.
Love your show and love what you do.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Ari Wasserman of the On3 Sports Network joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Something he said there I feel like is a little bit interesting. We'll follow up on that. And I have to ask this question before we welcome AJ McCarron on at 9:30. Because of where we are with NIL, is it essentially anything goes for coaches right now? Verbally, that is. I'm going to let you hear a couple things when we come back that you may find surprising right after this on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I have an interesting question on college basketball coaches, specifically just basketball right now, because that's the only audio we're going to have. Is it a little bit of a free-for-all as we stand here today? First, John, tell our listeners about UAB and what's coming up this weekend.
Well, this weekend is the Bartow Classic. Your UAB Blazers will be taking on Tulane. Tickets are available at uabsports.com. The game will be Sunday. Tips at 1 o'clock. You can get 2 tickets and 2 $10 concession vouchers for just $45, and $2 from every ticket will go towards the Gene Bartow Fund for Cancer Research. That's UAB against Tulane is Bartow Classic. Sunday, 1 o'clock at Bartow Arena. Get your tickets at uabsports.com.
So you think about where we are in the NIL era, that things are different and guys are getting paid, girls are getting paid. Does that change how coaches treat them? We know that probably a lot of things being handled a little bit more so with kid gloves. The intensity level of how people are coached, a little bit different. Has it changed the way coaches are talking about their players, specifically after games? This was Kim Caldwell discussing her Tennessee Lady Vol team 2 nights ago after they played.
I mean, we just had a lot of quit in us tonight, and that's been something that's been consistent with our team is we're not comfortable and things don't go our way, and I have a team that'll just quit on you. And you can't do that in big games. You can't do that anytime in the SEC, but you certainly can't do that at a program like this.
So we had too much quit in us, she says. Wow. We just don't get that a lot, honestly, from a lot of different coaches at a lot of different times. Just does not happen. Colorado head coach Tad Boyle, after the Buffaloes lost 78-44 to Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a good old-fashioned ass whipping. I don't. There's just no other way to say it. You know, a lot of you guys are from West Texas. You probably know what that is, and we took one tonight.
Okay, so just saying, hey, they just handed it to us right there. Just one that we couldn't do a whole lot about. Not really one that went our way. Jerome Tang post game after his team went down.
Hey, I'm gonna honor Christ like I always do. Blessed to do this, but this was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. You know, it is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I have no answer and no words. So y'all got 2 questions. So whoever want to ask 2 questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability right now. But right now, like I'm like pissed, and this is all right. Questions.
Well, I'll start with this one, Coach. You mentioned that not a lot of players on the roster will be in a Kansas State uniform next year. Why would you expect them to show for a 6 a.m. practice tomorrow morning? Second, could you specify which players you do not believe will be in your uniform next year? Those would be my 2 questions. Also, Texas head coach Vic Schaefer on his team after their loss to Vanderbilt.
You know, I've had my butt beat before when you've done it as long as I have. It's not the first time. It's the first time at Texas, I feel like, where, you know, my team was out toughed. The other team played harder. And just quite frankly, we had no heart. You know, you want to ask me, what does it take to win at this level? What's it going to take for my team? You got to have heart. We got no heart. And I just thought they were tougher, they were more physical, more aggressive. We whine, we complain. You just have no heart.
So we've heard players be accused of having no heart. We've heard players being accused of quitting, having too much quit in them. We have had coaches say that these players will not be in said uniform again next year. We have heard players be labeled as the softest that they've ever had at this program. So I ask the question again, do we see coaches managing these press conferences in a different way because of where we are in the NIL era. Interesting to think about. Interesting topic. We'll go to the Birmingham Stallions and talk to their head coach, A.J. McCarron, next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Going to go right to the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in A.J. McCarron, head coach of the Birmingham Stallions, former Alabama quarterback. I'm interested in what you're doing to sort of train for game situations, like head coaching situations. You've been involved in a lot of these just on the other side of it. Are you trying to mentally put yourself in these spots? Are you having conversations with people? How are you trying to prepare yourself for when the game actually gets here? Because I know you don't want to go into things that have never happened. You don't want to experience something that you've never even thought about or discussed or looked at. How do you try to prepare for things that are going to happen for you as a head coach in game that you've never experienced before?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really been just watching film, or as I watch games, kind of putting myself in those situations. To be honest with you, I know we're going to have some different rules that are going to come out next week that we'll be able to talk about that make the game a little different and coaching a little tougher in certain situations, and how you manage the clock. And it's just different, but it's really just watching games, kind of put myself in those situations, and then on top of that, like you said, reaching out to coaches that I trust. You know, I was with a great coach in Houston by the name of Carl Smith. He was a longtime QB coach for Seattle in their Super Bowl era and all the runs they had. And he was freaking unbelievable. He was with me in Houston, but he was unbelievable when it came to end of half or end of game 2-minute situations and when to call timeouts and everything. So I kind of, you know, wrote all that down over the years that I was with him, and then also got some phone calls with him. So hopefully it helps us out in the end.
Have you begun to sort of dictate who's going to do what for you in game? Like, do you have I don't know if you're planning on doing analytics. Are you going to have like a book guy? Are you, as far as time management, timeouts, substitutions, like how are you trying to sort of decipher who's going to do what outside of the obvious, coaching their positions, calling plays, whatnot?
Yeah, it's really a lot of it's going to be on me. It's why I wanted input in the offense this year, but I didn't want to have to focus on calling the plays. I wanted to really put myself in some tough situations and you know, just newer situations for me and see how I handle them. And then I'll also lean on the coaches that have been around for a long time. You know, it's tough in this league because when it comes to a challenge situation and all that, like, you got to have other coaches check iPads or check the TV screens while they're up in the booth, like, and you're very limited. So this isn't like the pro level where you have, you know, a crazy amount of coaches. I only have there's only 8 of us, so 7 assistants. So you're really having to kind of manage a lot of it yourself because those guys are coaching. But it'll kind of be on the entire coaching staff when it comes to whether we challenge a player or whatever. And then clock management, that's something I feel like I've always had a good grasp on. And I'm going to kind of leave that in my wheelhouse.
I mean, I've seen your former head coach in this league literally take advice from a player to go challenge a play, saying this happened here, this is the way this went down. He's like, you know what? If he says it, he was involved in the play. We're going to take a shot here. We're going to go with it. And I can imagine the difficulty with that.
Yeah, I reminded Beck when we were down in Orlando that I saved him on a challenge we were playing. Cole, I don't know if you remember, but we were playing St. Louis or San Antonio the last game of the year, and that was for home field advantage when it came to the XFL Division Championship. And they had a 2-point conversion to tie the game up late in the game, and I called lineman downfield, and I think I said number 75, and I went to Beck real quick because I saw it, and then I saw it on replay really fast, and we actually won that challenge. You know, Beck doesn't have a great history of winning challenges, so he's going to get help every once in a while.
A.J. McCarron, head coach of the Birmingham Stallions, with us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Have you had conversations with Tyler Siskey about, like, how he will talk to other people during games? Like, because, you know, he can get off course quickly. Like, he can get wound up and get out of line in a hurry. Like, are you going to try to help keep him in check? Like, who is sort of Tyler Siskey's FU coach during this whole thing? That's like, hey, man, chill out on the sarcasm a little bit. Or like, hey, you don't have to be that honest about things. Like, somebody's got to reel him in a little bit.
Yeah, Siskey, you know, I think I'm going to have to be the one because, you know, he's been like my big brother. He was coaching me. I was 14. I think he was 23 or 24 when he was my OC in high school. So I guess I'll be the one in charge of that. You know, it kind of reminds me of Mike and Dave need wedding dates. Like, we don't get each other riled up, and we're kind of just screaming at each other like that. So it's going to be interesting. You know, it's the hard part of us being so close, and then also having to remind him sometimes, and I try to do it in a nice way of like, hey, I know you're used to being the boss, but now I'm the boss, so we got to kind of take some order. But no, he'll be great. I'm just hoping they don't have him mic'd up. Or, you know, with Rapoli, as much as he wants it to be must-watch TV, hell, they might Mike Siskey up every week, so we'll see.
Well, I can go ahead and promise you. I know I have you guys one time, and I will be parked next to him for a large portion of the game. I'm just going to go ahead and that he won't even have to talk to me. I just want people to listen to what he's saying and then maybe get a comment every now and then. That is going to be a massive part of the conversation. AJ McCarron, Birmingham Stallions head coach, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Have you seen your bobblehead? There will be an AJ McCarron bobblehead giveaway for the last Stallions home game. I need to know your thoughts on how it actually came out.
Yeah, I did see it. I actually thought it was pretty cool.
Okay.
You can have some bad experiences with those bobbleheads and, people trying to remake you. So I thought it turned out pretty good. I'm not a fan of the tan pants. I'm not a, khaki pant guy. So maybe if we can get them changed to a light gray or something, it'd fit us better. But no, I thought it was pretty cool and it's awesome. And I can't wait for that game. And I'm sure my kids will be making fun of it and also destroying it on the way home.
Have you thought about the conversations you'll have with your players as far as one thing I'm always interested from these coaches is how they talk about getting to the NFL, how they talk about handling just the situation they're in now. And you have guys that are in different phases. That's one thing that's cool about this league. Guys that just need a chance. We had a running back last year that was literally working at a golf course, and a week later, he's sitting there running the football in the league. You had guys that are dying to get back to the NFL and realistically have that chance. You have other guys that are like, hey, man, I might have 2 years of football left in me physically. I love the game. I want to play. I'm here to give it my all, and then I know I'm probably going to be shutting it down. Have you thought about those conversations? How to direct guys, how to motivate guys, how you want to try and talk to your team about just all the different life situations you're going to be faced with?
Yeah, for sure. You make a great point because that's what I love about this league is, and the fact that I am a young head coach and recently just got out of playing, the fact that I can relate to these guys so well from a sense of, listen, I understand where a lot of you are and the situation you're in because, I was in the league for 7-8 years, tear my ACL, and then I'm like, is this how it ends? And we've already started having those talks on the Zooms and kind of getting everybody to buy into a team aspect and team mindset in this entire season because I feel like this sport has gone such a me sport altogether. So it's really, focusing on these guys and helping them achieve whatever ultimate goal they have, whether that's to get back to the league or that's to have fun for the next year or two and go out and try to win a championship to, better their lives, their situation in their lives. My biggest thing to them is, I told them our first team meeting on Zoom is write down your why. Everybody has a why. You have a why on the reason you wake up every morning and try to be the best reporter and podcaster and announcer and analyst and everything you can possibly do. There's something that pushes you. There's something that pushes us as humans, whether it's money, whether it's family situation, love for the game, whatever it is, but understand your why and then don't forget that each and every day. Excuse me. And I think that's the biggest thing in this league because you're not playing for a lot of money and at all. But you do have a great opportunity ahead of you to go out and achieve what you want to achieve. And you got to take advantage of that. And I think that starts with understanding your why.
All right. So self-scouting is big in football, all of it. And I make no mistake. I don't try to kid people. I don't try to lie about it. Secondary play is my weakness. And I do a radio show with Greg. I ask him a lot of questions. We have Damian working for us here that played receiver. He helps me with things. I do a show with Roman Harper. I literally grill him every Monday. Why is this guy doing this? How does this happen here? What now that you're going to be stepping away from just playing quarterback and being the head coach, have you said, I've got to get better here? I got to learn more about this position, this aspect of the game, because maybe you just never really had to pay that close attention to it before.
Yeah, I think for me, the number one thing is special teams from a sense of just punt, You know, field goal, I understand how I was a holder for 4 years at Alabama. I can come up with some fakes. I understand, you know, overload right, overload left, like where we want to be, clock management from that standpoint. The biggest thing for me is LA and New York and understanding that. You know, I've only lined up and punt one time in my career. I was in Houston. We were playing Tennessee Titans last game of the year in Houston, and they snuck me in as PP. And we did a fake, and I threw it and completed it for a first down. I think it was like a 13-yard completion to Stephen Mitchell, who was also my teammate in St. Louis. But that's about as far as my knowledge goes in the punt game. So, you know, when it comes to defense and understanding like that's the quarterback's job, I know what everybody's supposed to do. I'm massive when it comes to protections. Like, there's not a person that takes protection more serious than me. I think if the quarterback's getting hit, like it needs to be his fault. So I would definitely say the punt game.
Is there a chance we can go into the season and just erase slide protection from your playbook in all together? Just completely get it out of there and say we're just not going to have that?
Well, you know, I've never been unless you have a true overload, like you're in a double A with a number 4 threat, or it's just a true overload front, and you're sliding from, you know, the backside guard over. But a true old school slide and where the quarterback drifts in the pocket, like I hate it. I don't do it. I don't understand it. Like the quarterback needs to be O-line and quarterback need to understand where he's at all times. And then the quarterback needs to be able to have tools in his toolbox to beat the blitz. Like if he doesn't have that, we got to use slide protection and like half roll the entire time. Like we're not doing our job as coaches. So there's a way to beat a blitz. You got to figure out what they're doing to, you know, counteract whatever you're doing. And then you got to go make changes and find a way to win. So yeah, a full slide protection is not number one on my list.
That was a bad question for you because you know what it was originally intended for instead of just what everybody has tried to lean on it with and just make it the generic fallback protection for anything that people can't identify. So that was my fault for asking you that and should have known better than to ask you that question. But yeah, it's it drives me crazy on a weekly basis. Hell, we saw it in the Super Bowl. They literally gave up a sack in the Super Bowl and slide protection. I'm like, you didn't have to do that, and you did it, and it got your quarterback hit. Like, what are we doing? We're excited to see you, though, man. We really are excited to see you come to Birmingham and lead this team and what you guys are going to have in store. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I'm pumped about kickoff, pumped about having you guys earlier in the season, too. It's going to be a lot of fun to hang out with you down there.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you do for us, for the league, and y'all pushing, you know, our season and reminding Birmingham fans and fans in the state of Alabama and surrounding areas to come out, support us. First home game, April 18th, pack protective. And then, you know, first game of the year, March 27th, opening up the season against Louisville. It's only 5 hours away. It'd be awesome to see some Stallions Nation in Louisville, and I can't wait.
There you go. Great stuff, AJ, man. Good catching up. We'll do it again soon. Yep,
sounds good. Appreciate it.
AJ McCarron, head coach of the Birmingham Stallions, former Bama QB, joining us right here on the Higginbotham Hotline. So, I mean, AJ going to be moving around. He'll be housed in Dallas. He's going to be here in Birmingham a bunch. Might need to get in touch with Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. If you are looking for a new home in Central Alabama, Gusty Goulas Group can help. Call 205-542-1996. Just Google Gusty Goulas Group. You're going to see over 850 five-star Google reviews. He hasn't started marketing after you list with him. He's been marketing. It happens with the Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. One of the main reasons he can do that, he's served more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. Since 2012, Gusty Goulas Group recognized both nationally and locally as greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in homes sold. Brokered by eXp Realty, Gusty Goulas Group. Go to GustyGoulasGroup.com today, Google it, or call 205-542-1996 for all your real estate needs and see what they can do for you. All right, bad box score of the day, Super Sofa game of the week, next on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. Before we hand it off to three-man front, we will give you our Super Sofa games of the week. If you had one game to watch, only one that you could pick, which would it be? I'll get us cranked up. Auburn at Arkansas on the list, possibly, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go Kentucky at Florida, 2 o'clock ABC on Saturday. Number 25 Wildcats heading down to Gainesville, where Florida has seemingly been unstoppable recently. See if the Cats have an answer in the paint for what Florida has to offer. That would be my Super Sofa game of the week.
For me, I will look Saturday noon ABC top 10 matchup between Kansas and Iowa State. I'm debating on whether or not to do a bracket this year. I haven't done one in the past. I'm actually thinking about maybe stepping back in, and I kind of want to watch a couple of games to see outside the SEC. All right, so these some teams I need to watch out for. And I know especially with the way Kansas has been playing, because I know that Beniga whatever had like a 23-point performance not too long ago. I want to see if they can actually be the real deal. But tomorrow noon, Kansas, Iowa State. That would be my Super Sofa game of the week. And you can get your Super Sofa and more at TD's Fine Furniture. With over 100,000 square feet, they have plenty to choose from. Plus, they can buy in bulk and pass the discounts on to you. They have options for every room in your house to fit your style and your budget. That's TD's Fine Furniture in Summerton.
All right, quickly, a couple bad box scores of the day. Go to JUCO women's basketball. St. Ambrose took down Mount Mary 104-28 last night.
Oh, my. That's
St. Ambrose goes to 12-13. They won the game.
Oh, okay. Well,
Mount Mary 8-17. Your score by quarter 24-7, 29-5, 31-11, 20-5, 28 turnovers. Mount Mary shot 8 of 50.
Ugh. Okay. Yeah, this is bordering all time. You were right.
8 offensive rebounds on 42 misses.
Awful
they did
all
shoot
around.
21 threes.
Okay, all right. That's admirable. But they did how many?
They made 3.
Okay, well.
Your points off turnovers 40-2.
Makes sense.
Your assists 30-2.
That's right there.
Your points in the paint 46-10.
Not good.
Your bench points 31-0.
Okay, awful all around.
Out rebounded them 55-33. How about Abby Walter? 12 of 13 for the game, 1 of 1 from 3, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 steals, 3 blocks.
You're the real MVP, like Kevin Durant used to say.
All of it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Mid-America Nazarene gets to 20-3 on the season. They knocked down William Woods, the Owls.
Okay, all right.
They fought a 2-21,
Woo.
70-17 last night.
Ouch. Okay, yeah, they put it on him.
William Woods put up 57 shots.
And
Made 6.
Ugh.
3 of 20 from 3, 2 of 4 from the free throw line.
That's not good.
All right, guys, weather's going back and forth. Don't forget about our friends at Noble Eagle Insulation. They've helped me at our home. We had one area of the house that was a little bit too drafty, and it was near pipes in the kitchen, so we didn't want that to become an issue. Extreme cold winter conditions may be gone, but the up and down is still going to be there. If you have drafty portions in your home, uneven temperatures, if your home just feels too cold, go to Noble Eagle Insulation and see what they can do for you. 205-490-2933, 205-490-2933, or go to nobleinsulation.com to let them make your home more comfortable and help those high heating bills due to poor insulation. Appreciate Ari Wasserman, AJ McCarron, Josh Pape, Aaron Feld stopping by the show today. Monday, Richard Hendricks, Paul Feinbaum. And we recap everything from over the weekend. Three-man front coming at you next. Happy Valentine's Day.